everyone, I'm Heather and welcome back to my channel. So we are here today with the Radiance. So I have been excited for this game. I've been waiting on it for a while. I did back it on Kickstarter. But the coolest thing for me is that this is my sister's game. And it just came out on July 31st. So I am excited to play it. And I will link the Steam store in the description if you guys are interested in playing it as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the default name is Emmeline, but we are going to change that. Ash is fine. I'm okay with that. Your life until now has not been an easy one, but your experiences have shaped who you are. Okay, let's say genuine. We'll be polite and cautious. I'm gonna do lawful. We'll say proud. That's fine. I always want to be rebellious. However, I'm very much a rule follower. So I feel weird even in games like breaking the rules. Okay. Dear Diary, today is the day everything is going to change. At least maybe it will if I keep telling myself that. So far, I haven't had much luck in the whole turning my life around endeavor. Wasn't my life supposed to change after I left my teenage years behind? Once you become an adult, you can finally leave your past in the past and start fresh. You can move away from your hometown, find a place where no one knows who you are. You'll no longer be the poor orphan girl who lost her parents and had no future. You'll have an exciting new life to look forward to. That's what everyone told me. I suppose they were partly correct. I did move to a place where no one knows me, a place where my peers no longer look at me with pity. Back in high school, I was just the girl who lost her parents in that horrible accident. Since nothing ever happened in our small town, my situation was the only thing worth talking about. I had gotten over it years ago. I was so young. I don't even remember my parents. But no one else had forgotten. Most of the time, the kids in my class wouldn't even need to say anything. They'd just stare at me and I would... Okay. So choices. Stare blankly back at them, ignore them, attempt to form some conversation, loudly ask what they were staring at. We're gonna ignore them. Ignore their stares until they stopped. They'd eventually get tired of looking at a person that pays them no mind. I can outlast them any day of the week. I shouldn't be focusing on that now. That's why I left that life behind, right? But where's the exciting new life I was promised? What is it that I'm supposed to be doing? As it is, I've lived a life of drudgery. I spend every day doing the same thing. Taking classes at university, working, hanging out in the coffee shop, working. I'll do working. For about a year now, I've been working at the Southern Oracle, a tiny new age shop in the corner of the city. The owner, Juniper Dawn, not a real name, is not exactly a real psychic. If anything, she's more like an unlicensed therapist in a room full of crystals and candles. Yet her clients truly believe she's the real deal. As for me, all I do here is work the register and remind the customers that our products, while powerful, will not guarantee their unrequited love will notice them. But it's definitely worth a try. And don't forget to pick up some incense on your way out. It's buy one, get one free. It's not a bad little job for a bit of extra pocket money, but there's a reason why I was drawn to this job in particular. I'm fascinated by the occult. It's a great place to people watch. There are tons of books to read. It keeps me from sitting at a desk. How about people watch. I really enjoy observing and interacting with the customers. The sort of people that come through this shop are varied and interesting. They all have their stories about how the occult changed their lives, and they all love to tell me about them. I don't mind. I enjoy talking to new people, even if they are a little bit odd sometimes. None of this was anything close to what I planned my life to be when I was little. I had dreams of a different sort. I was just sure I was going to be head of some small corporation, a famous talk show host, the next Ninja Warrior. We'll do a legit wizard. A legit wizard. Maybe not the most realistic of dreams, but getting lost in that fantasy world seemed like the best future I could hope for. Wait, what was I even talking about? I started this journal to organize my thoughts, to help me feel motivated for a change. But now I've just spent pages babbling about nothing important, and I've lost the point I was even trying to make. Was there even a point? Story of my life. I snap the book closed with a sigh and glance up at the night sky. It's already way past dark, and most of the neighboring shops and restaurants are closing down for the night. The weather is nice and cool, so I thought a quick break in the park might help me with my new journaling plan. However, I'm not so sure I feel any more clear-headed than I did before. Just another waste of my time. I should really head home. As I walk through the empty streets, I find myself mindlessly staring at my reflection in the darkened windows, which is why I nearly trip head over heels over a darkened shape directly in my path. What is it? A bag of garbage? My eyes focus on the shape in front of me, and I let out a gasp. It's a person! Without thinking, I bend down and reach out my hand towards the figure lying on the sidewalk. Are they dead? As soon as my outstretched fingers make contact, the figure groans and rolls over, allowing me to see the face. It's a young woman, and although I see no blood or visible wounds, she does not look good. Are you okay? Well, that's a stupid question. It's obvious that she's not okay. The woman's eyes are still closed, but I can see that she is breathing. I look helplessly around me for someone that might be able to call for help. It's well past midnight on a weekday. The streets are completely deserted. I'm going to go find help for you. Just hang on, I'll be right back. I grapple with the idea of leaving the girl to find help. It's not as if she's in any condition to move, but leaving her in the middle of the street isn't exactly ideal either. I decide going to help is worth the risk. I start to stand up, but the girl grabs my hand roughly. She has more strength than I thought she should in her condition. No! The poor girl can barely speak. I have to strain my ears to hear her whispers. Did you say no? Please, don't leave. Look, if I don't get help for you, you must stay here. The girl's voice has more volume now. She seems to be using all her strength to hold on tightly to my hand. She turns her face upward towards me and fixes me with an intense stare. I'm sorry. What are you apologizing for? The girl's breathing becomes ragged. I'm in a state of panic now. I really need to find help for this girl, fast. I look wildly around at the darkened streets. Where is everyone? While I'm busy craning my neck in the opposite direction, the girl's wheezing breaths suddenly die off. I whip my head back to look at her. Her eyes are closed again. Oh no. I reach out to touch her. Oh no. She's no longer breathing. What do? I don't know any first aid. I decide I have no choice but to leave the girl and search for help. Somebody has to be nearby. As soon as I stand up, my vision seems to darken. No, now is not the time to panic and pass out. What is wrong with me? I'm suddenly surrounded by darkness, but I don't feel lightheaded. So she's really dead, huh? Just what I needed on today of all days. Where did that voice come from? Why is it so dark? I whirl my head around again and see a figure walking out of the darkness. A glowing light seems to follow her, but I can't pinpoint the source. The woman steps closer and takes a casual look toward the figure lying at my feet. Then she pulls out a small notebook and begins scribbling furiously. I swallow hard, trying to get my bearings. The situation is so unreal, I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to do next. Panic? Run? Question this new stranger? This is suspicious. I guess because I picked cautious as my trait, this would be my cautious trait. And we'll pick it. Perhaps I'm being overly paranoid to distrust the only person around that could probably help in this situation. But it's very suspicious to me that this woman shows up the moment the girl in front of me. Oh, did it roll down? Who are you? Where did you come from? I will explain in a moment. Please be patient. Patient? A girl is dead. Yes, and all this shouting will not bring her back. We will attend to her shortly. How do I know you didn't have something to do with it? Don't be ridiculous. I'm here to help you. Now please, give me a moment. She turns her back to me completely and continues to scribble in her notebook. I look down at the girl, feeling helpless. With a sigh, the woman closes her notebook so loudly my mouth snaps shut in surprise. Ooh. I scrolled. My name is Samia. I'm the High Secretary to the head of the Council of Radiance. And this girl right here, she's the Oracle for the Council of Radiance. Well, she was the Oracle, but as you can see, she is no longer. The important issue now is that the Oracle will need to be replaced, which is why we've got to get you to Sarenvale now. I stare into the woman's eyes. She's looking expectantly at me, as if this is all supposed to make perfect sense, but all I have is a bunch of questions. What does this have to do with me? What about the girl? Oracle's Radiance. No more questions. What does this have to do with me? What does any of this have to do with me? Hello? Are you paying attention? I said the Oracle is going to have to be replaced now. I don't say anything. I think I'm in shock. What is she trying to tell me? When I don't respond, she gives an exasperated sigh. That means it's you. You are the replacement. I what? It's simple radiant law. Samia holds her fingers up in the air and recites. For the last to behold the oracle shall be imbued with her spirit and thus her power. She pauses, as if waiting for me to burst out in understanding. All I can do is stare. After a moment, she gives another loud sigh and continues. That means the one who witnesses the oracle's death becomes the new oracle, obviously. This must be why the girl forced me to stay. She knew this would happen. But why would she want me to witness her death? What about the girl? But this girl is dead. We can't just leave her here. There's nothing you could do for her now. Someone from the council will be along shortly to collect the body. We have more important things to worry about. How can she be so calm about this girl's seemingly sudden death? She seems to know this girl. She called her the Oracle, but she is speaking about her death like some business transaction. Was this girl famous? Foreign royalty? Was this a murder? The only thing you need to concern yourself with now is getting to Sarenvale to complete the power transfer. Power transfer? Didn't we already go over this? That was the former oracle. She has perished and you witnessed her final moments. By radiant law, the one who witnesses the oracle's death becomes the new oracle. Oracle, radiance. Hang on, can we step back a minute? What are radiance and oracle? Like a psychic? Was this girl a psychic? Gods, you really need everything spelled out for you, don't you? Okay, let me see if I can sum this up in as few words as possible. We're in a bit of a hurry here. You're a human, and you live in your blissfully ignorant world over here with the other humans that have all but forgotten that the world you know used to be different. We used to coexist with humans, but that is far too much information to go into right now. Who is we? Radiance, that is, exceptional beings of Emeranthian radiance. But we just call ourselves Radiance these days. No one has time for so many words. The Radiants are not so different from humans on the surface. We're all cut from the same cloth after all. But that was many years ago, and humans have since separated themselves, forcing us to keep the planes divided. Now all humans know of the Radiants are the fables and stories, but we're still here. It's just very difficult to travel between the planes now. The High Council has made sure of that. I am so beyond confused at this rush of information that I latch onto the only thing I can sort of understand. What do you mean by fables? The stories humans tell their children about the Radiants. After years of telling the same fables, the humans all assume these stories are nothing but make-believe. This is by design, of course. The High Council has long decided that our planes should remain separate. Are you trying to tell me that fairy tales are real? Ugh, don't be so crass. No one uses the word fairy anymore. But yes, the stories you have heard are real. Most of them, anyway. Okay, we've asked everything, so no more questions. Can we move on? We're in a bit of a hurry. In a hurry to do what? To get you to Sarenville to begin your training. You may have received the Oracle's powers, but that doesn't mean you can use them effectively on your own. You will have to be trained and tested. But I don't have powers. Not yet, perhaps. It takes some time for the power transfer to take place. Even then, you won't quite have full control over the gifts. That's why you need training. It's really very inconvenient, the Council having to do without an oracle for so long. But this sort of thing doesn't happen very often. Once in a few hundred years, in fact. What if I refuse? I don't know that we're that kind of person if we did not pick a rebelliousness. Do I get a choice in this? Listen, I'm not really sure if this is a joke or not, because it sure sounds like it is. But if it's not, don't I get a choice in this? What? No, no one has ever had a choice. In the event that you do not pass the trials, another will assume the role in your stead and you will be eliminated. Eliminated? Oh, I forgot how dramatic you humans are. It just means you'll be removed from Radiant Society and placed back here on your plane. Of course, your memories will have to be altered. Memory magic is imprecise, so there's no guarantee how much of it you'll lose. And we can't turn back time. You'll still have to spend time training regardless of what happens with the trials. I stare in shocked silence as the woman speaks so casually about removing my memories. So you're going to take a year out of my life for some stupid law? Radiant law. And yes, it's how the universe operates, and it's always been this way. Just because humans are too uninteresting to know of our existence anymore doesn't mean we cease to operate. And by we, I mean you too, you know. You're one of us now, whether anyone likes it or not. Are you ready to go? We must press on. Do I really have to? Sure, let's go. Yes, let's get this adventure started. Earlier this evening, I was just wishing for a life-changing event. This isn't exactly what I had in mind, but I don't have much in my current life to miss. I'm taking a huge risk here. I have to be crazy to even consider it, right? But still, a new adventure may be just the thing I need. Yes, I'm ready. Sumia spins around and proceeds towards the empty darkness, the disembodied glow following her as she goes. So, where exactly are we going? To Sarenvale Academy. That's where you'll complete your training. You should feel pretty lucky. It's the best university around. Only the very rich or very talented elite get to attend. So you're fortunate the council will only allow their future oracle to be trained by the best. This description does nothing to ease my nerves. A school full of the best? I have my own share of skills, sure, but I am hardly elite. How am I supposed to pass these trials? I trip over myself as we stumble through the darkness. The only light comes from the strange glow around Sumia. I am anxious to get out of this infinite dark. How far away is this academy? And do we have to walk the entire way? It may be dark, but surely we're still in my neighborhood, right? There's definitely no school called Sarenvale anywhere in my town. Sumia stops abruptly and I nearly crash straight into her. She turns around and gives me a small smile. We're already here. She snaps her fingers and the darkness dissipates around us like rain washing away the earth. This is Professor Balin's office. Looks like he isn't in right now. Unfortunately, I do not have any more time to waste here, so I'm afraid you're on your own. Wait, you're just going to leave me here? I may not know Sumia very well, but I also do not love the idea of being left alone in this unfamiliar place. Just have a seat. I'm sure the headmaster will be along shortly. He is anticipating your arrival. Oh, and don't touch anything. Before I can protest, Sumia is gone. Just gone. I'm now alone in the headmaster's office, a strangely shaped room filled to the brim with books and bizarre items. The weight of my predicament hits me with an incredible force. I'm no longer in the world I once knew. Everything that was familiar to me is now gone. I took a giant leap of faith and believed in this fairy tale I was sold by a literal stranger. Now I'm stuck with the realization that this may truly be real, and it's too late to turn back. I wait several moments without doing much of anything. I was told the headmaster is on his way, but not how long I'm expected to wait. I take another look around the room, marveling at the shelves of mysterious baubles and endless mountains of old books. A placard on the ornate desk reads, Cirrus Balin, Headmaster. A mirror on the wall catches my eye. It is large with an ornate frame decorated with figures that resemble mermaids. As I look into it, it does not reflect my face, but instead there's a soft mist-like movement behind its surface. It is dark, and yet it feels almost alive. I'm not sure how long I stood there staring at the dark, swirling surface before a voice from behind me snaps me back to reality. That is an oculus, one of the only dozen in existence, actually. I turn around and stare into the face of a well-dressed man, possibly around 40 years of age. He smiles at me warmly. Are you the headmaster? That is correct. You can call me Professor Balin. You must be Miss Ash. Judging by the look in your eyes, you've been through a lot in the past few hours, but there's no need to worry. I'll be helping you adjust to your new situation. I nod weakly. I think I'm still in too much shock to say more. I'm sorry to keep you waiting, but it seems you've kept yourself entertained in my absence. He nods towards the mirror, and I turn back to look at its alluring dark surface. What did you say it was called? An oculus, also sometimes known as a magic mirror in the old human What does it do? What does it do? That depends on the user and the oculi inside of it. The oculus is the home to a special race of radiant called the oculi. They are known for their powerful psychic abilities, very much like an oracle, in fact. But while an oracle sees the future, an oculi sees only the present. I suppose that is where the legends are true. People can gaze into the mirror to ask the oculi to bestow their visions upon them. However, oculi do not remain imprisoned in their mirrors forever. What happens to them? I suddenly get a horrifying mental image of an evil spirit floating out of the mirror, ready to take revenge on those that used it for their own selfish purposes. I know what you're thinking, Miss Ash, but the oculi are not inherently evil. They are simply born in the space between our world and the next, and only exit their homes when the will deems it necessary. Just when I thought this couldn't get any weirder, now there's something called the will? Oh, I'm sure you'll be learning about things much stranger in the days to come. The will is just a fancy name for the force that keeps the balance in our universe. Without the will, the magic of the radiant world would collapse upon itself. You will learn all about these things in due time. That is why you're here, after all. I turn back towards the mirror, its dark swirling pattern almost hypnotizing me. So there's an entire world behind this mirror? If I asked, would the oculi appear and give me answers? What happens when an oculi, comes out of the mirror? That question you might want to save for someone more suited to answer properly. There's an oculi at the school. There's a mirror person at the school? Is it offensive to call them mirror people? Probably, but I can't be concerned with politeness right now. Professor Balin laughs, obviously delighted by my innocent curiosity. Indeed there is. I am sure you will meet him in time. However, as with most things around here, it's better that you learn with your own eyes. So the mirror person is a him. I wonder what he looks like. I have so many questions. Now, I'm afraid we must get down to business. I know that is his way of telling me the conversation is over. I take one last look at the dark swirling surface of the oculus before taking a seat in front of the headmaster's desk. I trust your journey here was a painless one? Well, I'm not even sure how I got here. One minute I was on the street, and the next minute there was darkness. Ah, yes. Miss Almasi has that ability. She can draw all of the light from the area. It's part of her gifts as a descendant. I assume Professor Balin is talking about Samia, but none of his other words make sense. Whether or not he senses my confusion, he continues. She is one of the descendants of the Pantheon. That is to say, she is distantly related to one of the archaic gods. Samia is a goddess? Now I'm a little embarrassed. I secretly thought she was kind of abrasive. She's not a god herself. The bloodlines have become very diluted over the millennia, but every descendant inherits some abilities from their ancestors. Since Samia is descended from Kek, the god of light and darkness, she has gained some of the abilities related to that bloodline. I assume she used her ability to mask the gateway to take you here, probably on the Council's orders. In any case, we've gotten a little ahead of ourselves, haven't we? You hardly know anything about us, and here I am overloading you with information. Overloaded is an understatement. It takes everything I have not to lie down here and attempt to hide from the world until everything goes back to normal. I assume Miss Almasi gave you the basic information on why you were sent to Sarenvale. I know a little, but it's all so much. Well, why don't we use this time to help you feel a bit more at ease?
I'll try to answer any questions you may have, though I'll keep it brief. You'll be learning much of this in your studies here. What does the oracle do? I know I'm supposed to be training to be an oracle, but I don't even really know what an oracle is supposed to do. The council oracle is a very prestigious position. It is also the only position that is held solely by a human and not a radiant. Why does a human have to do it? It's an age-old tradition stemming from the time before the Dark Ages, when humans and radiants lived together. Some say the very first oracle was a radiant who fell in love with a human woman and gave her powers to her human partner when she died. Her will was that the oracle's powers only be transferred between lovers. However, that is not exactly how it turned out, as I'm sure you understand by now. These stories can only be speculation now, of course. Even for a race as old as ours, history gets muddled. What exactly does the oracle do? The oracle gives counsel to the officials of our government. Using your abilities, you will be able to give insight on the correct paths and warn against obvious dangers. So it's like some sort of government psychic? It sounds a little ridiculous, but I don't say this out loud. Somehow, I think it might sound insulting to this supposedly prestigious position. However, an oracle is not all-powerful and visions are always up to interpretations. That will be your main task, to correctly interpret your visions and report to the council. You likely have not received the power transfer yet, but when you do, all of this will make more sense to you. You sure about that? Absolutely. Even though I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that any of this is actually real, and that I am expected to be the one doing it, the headmaster's words do make me feel a bit more at ease. Samia mentioned I would have to pass some sort of test at the end of the year. Ah yes, the trials. They sound more intimidating than they actually are. You won't be expected to perform dangerous tasks. It's more like a general assessment of your skills to determine what kind of oracle you will be. There is not one correct way to pass the trials. As long as you are diligent in your studies, you will do fine. I'd like to know more about the school. I'd like to know a bit more about Sarenvale. Sarenvale is the premier university for radiant students on this side of the world. It's also one of the oldest educational establishments, being first established nearly 900 years ago. It's that old? We've been around far longer than human civilization, so in our timeline, it's not as old as it sounds. Most classes are structured by the student's year, as you are probably used to. However, special ability classes are separated by skill level. There are also a large variety of extracurricular activities available to you as well. After our chat, I'll take you on a short tour of the grounds to help you get more acquainted with our school. Okay. I don't have any more questions for now. Excellent, then let us proceed. I feel that the best way to learn about our school is to see it for yourself. So now we're going to do just that. Follow me, please. I'd barely gotten settled into the weirdly uncomfortable chair before I am standing up again, trotting after Professor Balin, who is clearly a man on a mission. He opens the massive doors to the room with a slight push, and leads me through a long corridor and into what I presume to be the Academy's Great Hall. This place is like nothing I've ever seen before. My eyes dart in every direction, trying to take it all in, while also attempting to follow the speedy headmaster. A couple of the students glance in my direction as I pass. It's the middle of the night, so I didn't think classes were in session, but there are a lot of students loitering in the hallways. Then I notice the sunlight drifting through the large windows. How is it daylight already? Maybe time moves differently here? I'm not sure what I expected the other students to look like, but I didn't think they'd look so normal. I haven't really been briefed in detail on what a radiant actually is, but in my head I imagine something a little more not human. Then again, Samia looked totally normal. Professor Balin also looked pretty normal. Maybe the Radiants aren't as close to the fairy tales as I've been led to believe. All of the students are wearing the same school uniform, but I noticed different colored emblems on their blazers. I wonder what those are supposed to signify. As we move through the Great Hall, I hear what sounds like shouting coming from a group of students ahead. It looks like some sort of fight. 2 male students are shoving each other violently while their classmates watch with amused looks on their faces. Guess some things never change no matter where you come from. Professor Balin seems unconcerned, barely glancing in their direction. Instead, he gives a short, melodic whistle as we pass. Almost instantly, the 2 fighting boys break apart, but even more strangely, they're smiling. "Good afternoon, Professor Balin." Professor Balin nods his head congenially towards the group of students, but does not stop walking. I crane my neck back to look at the students. They're dispersing now, their quarrel seemingly forgotten. Before I can ask about what just happened, Professor Balin motions me towards the massive staircase. We'll be heading upstairs, which is where the majority of your classes will take place. As I trek up about 5 flights of stairs, pausing only briefly to listen to Professor Balin's descriptions on which classes take place on which floors, I begin to wonder if they ever heard of elevators. This is the 5th floor, and this is where your specialty classes will be held. We pass several large doors, each with a large colored symbol above each door. We finally stop at a door near the end of the hall. This one has a blue symbol emblazoned on it. This is the Azurite lecture hall and practice room. Yet another word I don't know. This is becoming a pattern. I decide to just wait for the headmaster to explain. Every student is put into a special class determined by the type of ability they have. This is so they are able to practice with other students with similar abilities. Your abilities stem from the mind, so you are in the Azurite class. What are the other classes? Well, let's see. Jadeite are students with elemental abilities. Rhodolite is for students with physical abilities. And then there's Iolite, which is, well, the more difficult to classify. Why is that? We refer to the Iolite abilities as arcane abilities, which means the source of their magic is either unknown or comes from multiple sources. Some of the most unique and exciting abilities come from the Iolite class. I can't help but be intrigued by this. My limited experience so far has exposed me to psychics, mirror people, and the relatives of old gods. What else is out there? For that matter, what is Professor Balin? What is his special ability? You'll be taking most of your Azurite classes with me, when my headmaster duties allow. You teach classes too? That's right, I was head of Azurite House before I accepted the headmaster position. But my greatest joy is helping other students learn more about what they can do. I couldn't bear to give that up. Does that mean you're also, psychic? No, the spectrum of mental magic is quite broad. My abilities are not precognitive like yours. In fact, you may have heard my people. I am one of the Siren. Like the beautiful mermaids that lure sailors to their deaths? I can see you follow the human stories quite well. You may have heard the human tales about mysterious maidens who live in the sea and trap unwitting sailors. However, those tales are mostly false. You see, my kind used to be sailors themselves in the days when humans and Radiants lived among each other. Our gifts lie in song. We are able to manipulate the emotions of others with our voices. That is, of course, where the term siren song comes from. And while a siren could use their song to lure the innocent to their deaths, it is not in our inherent nature to do so. As I listen to this information, a sudden realization strikes me. Those students downstairs, you made them all smiley. Ah, yes, I simply used my ability to put them in a better mood, just to help them get over their differences quicker than they would have otherwise. People tend to let their emotions flare up and they act on impulse. If those two had really wanted to fight, my small emotional push would not have stopped them. My abilities can be strong, but I do not use them in such a way as to inhibit free will. Good thing, I muttered to myself, thinking what a terrifying ability that could be if used by the wrong person. The next stop on the tour is the dormitories. The dorms are outside of the main hall, connected by a covered walkway. Each room houses 2 students, but the bathroom is shared between 4, one between each pair of rooms. Sharing a bathroom with 3 other girls seems like a nightmare, and I'm already mourning the loss of my long showers when Professor Balin stops in front of a room and knocks. Is this my room? It is. Doesn't seem like anyone is home. He pulls out a long, thin key from his pocket and places it in the lock. It clicks and swings open, revealing a half-empty room. I'm not sure what I was expecting, but this room looks fairly normal. One side of the room is decorated with plants and various other personal items, while the other is completely empty. That must be my side of the room. I notice that there are some boxes stacked on the floor near the empty bed. Those are your belongings. We had them delivered right before you arrived. What? But how? Better you not ask too many questions right away, Miss Ash. I'd hate to give you too much to process on the first day. At first I think he is making fun of me. Then I catch the smile on his face. He takes one look at my bewildered expression and chuckles softly. Don't worry, Miss Ash. You'll get into the swing of things soon enough. It's perfectly natural to feel overwhelmed right now. You'll be adjusted properly in no time. You'll see. You'll be meeting your roommate later this evening. Classes are in session after all. That was the very quick version of the tour. There's much more to see at Sarenvale, but we find it best to let students discover its secrets more organically. Now, how about I leave you to get settled? Thanks for the tour. I hope I sound much more confident than I feel. Feel free to stop by my office anytime you have questions. For now, get some rest and take a moment to read through your welcome pack. It has everything you need to know to get ready for classes. See you tomorrow, Miss Ash. As soon as I'm alone in the room, it finally hits me how exhausted I am. Even if I weren't completely bombarded with the biggest life-changing event ever, it's still nearly 4 a.m. Or it should be by normal human time anyway. I lie down on the bed and find it surprisingly comfortable. I guess they have only the best for such elite students. Before I know it, I am fast asleep. I'm not sure how long I was asleep, but I'm jolted awake by the sound of hard footsteps pounding through the room. I open my eyes and focus on the unfamiliar space around me. I'm in my Sarenvale dorm room, my new home, and now there's an unfamiliar face staring at me. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to wake you up. I tried to be quiet, but well... She looks down at her absolutely enormous boots. No one could possibly walk quietly in shoes like those. This must be my roommate, the person I will be sharing my space with for the next year. I've never had a roommate before. I feel excited, maybe a little apprehensive. I'm a little apprehensive. I don't know anything about this person. What if it turns out to be like one of those movies where the roommate torments the new girl? Hey, it could happen. I sit up, fully awake now. It's okay, I was just dozing a little. You're Heather, right? My new roomie? That's right, it seems like everyone knows who I am, but I'm still completely in the dark. Well, I just found out about you, like an hour ago. My last roommate dropped out or went on permanent vacation or something. I'm not really sure. But this bed has been empty for a few weeks. It's nice to have it filled again. It gets too quiet here. Just me alone with my thoughts. My thoughts can be pretty loud. Oh gosh, I forgot to introduce myself, didn't I? I'm Rayla Balanos. I'm in my second year here. Nice to meet you, Rayla. Rayla sits on her bed, pulls off her massive boots, and drops them loudly to the floor. Then she pulls her legs up crosswise and leans forward to look at me. So, you're our first human magic user in like 100 years, huh? You must be freaking out. Straight to the point, huh? It's kind of my way. Well, honestly, I haven't had a lot of time to freak out, but it's definitely a lot to take in all at once. No kidding. I heard they just picked you up earlier today, but there's no freaking out necessary. You've got me to help you adjust. I'll be like your advisor. I've always wanted to have a greater purpose. Well, thanks. I'll take any help I can get. Rayla seems nice and completely normal. But as I've learned so far, the standards of normal here are quite different from what I'm used to. So, what are you? Oh god, that sounded really rude, didn't it? If I were the type to be offended, which luckily for most of the people in this school I'm not, that might be a rude question. But I don't mind. It's understandable that you'd be curious. From what I've heard, humans hardly know anything about us rats anymore. Rads? Short for radiants. That's just what some of us say. I'm a dryad, a nature guardian, you know? Wow, a real dryad? That's amazing. Oh, don't get that excited. It's not that cool, trust me. My magic is mostly tied to plants. You know, talking to plants, making things grow, stuff like that. Well, it sounds pretty cool to me. If I wanted to run a botanical garden, maybe, but I have plans much greater than that. I just need to figure out what those plans actually are. Anyway, you were slightly correct. You probably shouldn't go around asking people what they are unless you want to drive everyone away. I guess you could say it's an impolite question to ask in our culture. If someone trusts you enough, they'll tell you on their own. Fortunately, most people in the school are an open book. You want to know? Ask me. I don't mind being impolite. Did you get your class schedule yet? I want to see if we have any classes together. I reach over to my bedside table where I had left the welcome packet I was given on my arrival. Inside is the school handbook, a map of the grounds, and finally, the paper I was looking for, my course schedule. Glancing over it, I noticed some familiar subjects I might expect to see at any university, but sprinkled amongst the mundane classes were a few I definitely did not have at my previous school. It seems I have a set list of required courses I'll be taking, but there are a variety of electives listed as well. Let me see. Oh, we have Radiant History together. It's a beginner course, but I have so many impossible classes this year that I chose it so I could have a little breather. Of course, you've got your specialty class on Friday. Specialties are always on Friday. That's psionics in your case. Mine is elementalism. They think we should learn about all the elements and not just your own. But you won't have to worry too much about it. I wonder which electives they gave you to choose from. Oh, you've got some interesting choices. How do electives work? Sarenvale's elective system is pretty cool. After you're done with your standard scheduled classes, you can attend any elective you want. You've just got to sign up for the class at the beginning of the week. You can take the same elective every day or switch it up. It really just depends on which skills you want to focus on. There are no elective classes offered on Wednesdays because that's club activity day. You'll get to pick your club in the next couple days. And that's it. Does it all make sense? Let's just say I'll figure it out as I go. That's a great life philosophy. Well, enough chit-chat for one night. I should probably get to bed. I have to be up at dawn for nature communion. She pauses to give me an exaggerated look of disgust. And you probably want to be rested for your first big day. You're starting classes tomorrow, right? I glance at the ornate clock sitting on the bedside table. At least the clocks seem to function the same here. It's 9 p.m. That means I napped for over 4 hours. However, despite my short nap this afternoon, I find that I am still pretty tired. And Rayla is right. I have just arrived, but I'm expected to start classes tomorrow. I'm going to need all the rest I can get. I just hope I can sleep. I wake with a start, inhaling so quickly that I nearly choke on the air. What was that? Was I dreaming? No, that did not feel like a normal dream. It felt more like a signal being broadcast directly into my mind. The images I saw were quick and fleeting, like watching a movie on super fast forward. It was over almost as soon as it began. Was that a vision? It must have been. That's the only explanation for that strange sensation. However, if that is how all my visions are going to go, I'm going to have quite a lot of trouble making sense of them. And probably a lot of headaches. I glance over at the bed next to me, sure that I have woken my new roomie with my panicked gasps, but the bed is empty. Oh, that's right. Rayla mentioned something last night about having to be up at dawn. I must have been very tired to miss her exit this morning. Today will be my first day of classes at Sarenvale. All of this happened so fast, my head is still spinning. As I crawl out of the bed, I notice a small package is sitting on the desk. It's addressed to me. When was this delivered? I open the box gingerly and find a neatly folded jacket and skirt inside. Both are accented with pale blue. There's also a note. I unfold the paper and read aloud. This is your Sarenvale school uniform. Please wear this during school hours. Don't worry, this special garment is self-cleaning, so this is the only one you'll need. Signed, Headmaster Balin. Self-cleaning? Do I even want to know how that is supposed to work? I take the clothing out of the box and slide into it. It's not really any surprise that the uniform fits me perfectly, because of course it does. I guess I'm ready to go then. I'm officially a student at Sarenvale. First things first, I've got to choose my electives for the week. Okay. So, what classes should I take this week? Let's take... Okay, so, the study of the correlation between celestial objects and earthly events improves your insight and theory. The study of animals improves your academics and force. Geomancy, control and power. Calligraphy improves composure and quickness. Symbology, logic and endurance. Enchanting is charm and leadership. Let's do symbology for this one. I guess we could do astrology there. We probably want to keep it the same, though. Let's do those. That way, we're focused. I don't know exactly how long you have to get all your skills, so I think we should probably try to focus on a few. So let's go ahead and go. Okay, electives chosen. Let's get this day started. What time is it? I glance over the clock and my heart leaps out of my chest. Oh no, I'm supposed to be in class in 15 minutes. I nearly trip over myself as I scramble to gather the things I need for class. With no time to unpack my belongings, I don't have any of my usual necessities ready. Hastily, I glance at my reflection in the mirror and rake my fingers through my hair. It's passable, I suppose. So much for making a stellar first impression. I race for the door without a second glance. Which way was the class hall again? I yanked my class schedule and map from my bag and peered down at it, trying to remember where Professor Balin had told me the class buildings were. I proved to be pretty good at running and reading at the same time. If I keep up this pace, I should make it there without being late. Let's see, my first class is Ancient Languages, room 3B. Despite my best efforts, there's just not enough time for the trek from my dorm house to the class building. I find my classroom with little trouble, but I'm not terribly surprised to see the class has already started. I do not even need to look at the time to know I'm late. No hope of getting in unnoticed. When I enter, the entire room stops to look in my direction. Even the professor, an older, slightly plump woman, stops in the middle of her lecture to look towards me. I pause momentarily, unsure how I should react to my newfound attention. Polite. Stop and apologize for being late, rush towards the first empty seat, give a twirl so everyone can get a good 360 view. Let's be polite. The professor is probably a reasonable woman, and I certainly did not mean to show up late for my first day, so I decided an apology is in order. I approach the professor's desk and give her an apologetic look. I'm so sorry for being late, Professor. You see, The professor holds up her hand to stop my explanation. No need to explain yourself, just see to it that it does not happen again. Yes, Professor. Normally, I'd have to give you demerits for your tardiness, but I'll let you off just this once. I bow my head in thanks and start to move towards an empty seat when she stops me again. Now, please have a seat. She does not have to tell me twice. I slide into an empty seat towards the middle of the room, trying to avoid the many eyes on me. After a moment of awkward buzzing from the students, the professor clears her throat loudly. Shall we continue today's lesson? Ancient languages turn out to be more about magic than actual language. I had expected to learn something like Latin or maybe Sanskrit. However, today we discussed ancient runes and their uses in magical rituals. Apparently, runes can be used by anyone, radiance or otherwise. However, due to their power and ease of use, the use of runes are now heavily regulated in Radiant society. I've heard of runes before, but I dismissed them as something ancient cultures created to explain the unexplained. I never expected them to actually work. I take notes furiously, realizing I have a lot of catching up to do. Time for my first elective class. Symbology, Level 1. Symbolism is not just the interpretation of written symbols or codes, but also the art of recognizing and deciphering symbols in the everyday world. Almost anything could be considered a symbol, so it's important to learn how to distinguish what could be important. My logic has increased. Alright, and that's my menu. Fortunately, my first day of class at Sarenville passes without any additional trouble. However, now I'm completely lost. Somehow, I took a wrong turn coming out of the classroom building, and I'm now in a completely empty and completely unfamiliar corridor. I stop to pull my school map from my bag. I dig around for a few moments before I realize the map is not there. Did it fall out at some point? I give a big sigh and attempt to retrace my steps. This place can't be that big, can it? I take a left turn down another corridor that sort of looks familiar, but as I move further down, I realize it really just looks identical to the corridor I was just in. Frustrated, I turn back around and head the other direction. Every door in this section of the school seems to be locked, as I discover when I try to open a few. If only there was someone here to ask for directions. Up ahead, I notice a light coming from one of the doors. Maybe there's someone in there. I jog towards the door, my feet echoing loudly on the cold stone floors. As I reach the door, it suddenly opens. I let out a yelp of surprise. A tall figure is standing in the doorway. It's a student, at least I think it is. He looks to be only slightly older than me, but his eyes seem to be ageless. That doesn't even make sense. but that's the only word I can think of to describe them. Oh, sorry, I wasn't expecting the door to open. Why are you running down the hallway making all that racket? I'm kind of lost. I was trying to get back to the dorm house. Took a wrong turn and... Well, you shouldn't be here. This wing is off limits to students. Aren't you a student? He doesn't answer. He just closes the door behind him and begins walking down the hall, away from me. I hesitate for just a moment, but it's long enough for him to notice. Well, don't you want me to show you the way to the dorm? Oh, yeah, that'd be great. Then hurry up before I change my mind. Geez, what's with this guy? Despite my feelings towards his attitude problem, I know it will save me a lot of time to follow him, so I bite my tongue and quicken my steps to catch up with him. So what happens in this wing of the building? Why is it off limits? That's not something you need to concern yourself with. Hey, I'm just curious. No one told me about any restricted areas of the school when I took the tour. So then you are new here, miss? Ash, Heather Ash, and yes, this is my first day, so I'm still getting used to this place. There's still a ton I don't know. I was not aware Sarenvale was accepting new students. It does not happen very often. Does he really not know I'm the new student? Everyone else seemed to have gotten the memo about the new Oracle in the school. However, this guy seems to be clueless. Should I tell him? Or would it be better to remain anonymous for now? Let's tell him. I've actually been sent here for Oracle training. You are to be the next Oracle? That must mean Sabile has passed. Sabile? That's the first time I've heard the name of the girl from the street. Somehow knowing her name makes her death even sadder to me. You will need to be very focused if you intend to become the next Oracle. So I've been told. His eyes study me intently. He's definitely trying to size me up. Have you experienced any of the Oracle's abilities yet? I'm pretty sure I had a vision this morning, but I couldn't make sense of it. No, I suppose you wouldn't. I'm not sure how to respond, so I remain quiet. I'm having a really hard time deciding this guy's feelings. Somehow, everything he says sounds like an insult. Well, Sarenvale is the correct place for you if you intend to take your studies seriously. Be careful how to choose to spend your time in this place. What do you hope to accomplish in your time at Sarenvale? What is this, a job interview? Or maybe this guy just sucks at small talk. However, I consider his question seriously. I just want to learn everything I don't really know. I want to focus on my discipline. I want to have a good time. How about we focus on our discipline? I'd like to focus on strengthening my discipline so I can put it to good use. He looks at me, raising his eyebrows in surprise. Then you just might have a chance, Miss Ash. A chance for what? For success. One needs a concrete plan if they expect to get things done. Don't lose sight of those plans. I feel like I'm being given advice from a wise old sage, not a fellow student. We've arrived at the dorm house moments later. I should have paid more attention to the route we took instead of chatting. I turn to thank my escort, but he's already walking away. No goodbye, no nothing. I didn't even catch his name. I stand there for a moment, watching his tall form walk briskly back towards the direction we came. Heather! I hear my name being called, and I rolled around to see my new roomie, Rayla, rushing towards me. What were you doing with Arian just now? Who? Oh, that guy? Well, I got lost and he was just showing me the way back to the dorms. He walked you back to the dorms? Yeah, I lost my map, so I ended up in some weird empty wing of the school and... Arian never talks to underclassmen. I'm pretty sure we're invisible to him. Really? Well, I'm new, so I guess maybe he just doesn't know who I am. Oh, he knows. He pretty much knows everything around here. Aside from being top of every class, he's also Professor Balin's student assistant, so he gets special access to student records and things like that. Well, that explains how he was able to hang around in an area that is off limits to students, but I'm pretty sure he didn't know who I was. He's sort of a celebrity around here. It's pretty much assumed he's going on to do great, amazing things. Must be nice to have everything all figured out. Me, on the other hand. He didn't seem very friendly. Well, of course not. It's hard to relate to us peons, isn't it? But you have to admit, there is something about him. I mean, I don't even like guys, but I can admit that he's got a strange allure. Yeah, we'll agree. I think about it for a moment and have to admit she is correct. Despite his cold attitude, I find myself intrigued by him. You're right, it's a bit strange. That's not part of his abilities, is it? You know, natural allure power and all that? Definitely not. He's an Azurite. But if his abilities have anything to do with ensnaring the hearts and minds of others, I'd know. Actually, I think his abilities are that of a precognitive nature, just like you, so perfect match? She wiggles her eyebrows at me. He'll have to get a serious attitude adjustment first. Maybe you're just the one to bring it out of him. We reach our room at last, and Rayla immediately flops into the bed, giant shoes still on. I feel like doing the same. I survived my first day, but I'm beat. I can tell that the weekday classes are going to keep me very busy, and I'm already looking forward to the weekend, which is completely empty on my schedule. Only, I'm not exactly sure what I should do with my free time here. So, what do people usually do after classes around here? Well, that depends. Most of the overachievers will go to the library to study or practice their disciplines in the classrooms. The Jadeite classroom is always full of those plant-loving nerds after hours. What do you like to do? Usually I just hang out in the autumn courtyard. By the way, if you decide to go exploring around the campus, I'd recommend bringing a coat. A coat? But it's so warm here. It is here, but this place is located on a cardinal convergence, which means we get all 4 seasons at the same time. What? How does that work? Seasons don't work here as they do where you come from. Ours don't cycle in the same location, they're constant. So if you live in a place where it's summer, it's always summer. What? That's crazy. That's just the way it's always been. Sarum Vale was built on one of those spots where all 4 seasons come together. It makes sense because this school accepts students from all over the place, so everyone gets a climate they're used to. Our dorm building is in the autumn quad, so the weather is always quite nice here. The autumn courtyard is definitely my favorite place to be after classes. I'd hate to have to live in a place where it's always winter. I've never really liked the cold. Most people agree, which is why that is where the old building is located. No one really uses it anymore, though there are some rads that like to hang out in the winter courtyard. Those that came from colder climates anyways. What's in the old building? I don't actually know. I've never really been over there since I first came here. I tried to avoid the cold as much as possible. Maybe I should go exploring. I don't know everything about this place yet. Right now? Aren't you exhausted? Oh no, not right now. My first day has been a long one. I'll save my exploration plans for the weekend. Good plan. Well, I'm going to take a long nap. Let's chat tomorrow. Good night, Rayla. Okay. Well, I guess I'm going to go ahead and end this episode here. I think we've still got some more character introductions to go, but this has gotten quite long. So I'm going to go ahead and end this episode here, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.